Okay, so next we will move them to Silvia Binet. I hope I said your name well. Welcome. Yeah, I think you can follow to presenting our organization.
Perfect. Yeah, do you see it? Does it work? Thumbs up? Perfect. All right, so I am very excited to give you this very short introduction about YESEurope. I think some of you might already know me, but probably not all of them. So just as a quick introduction, my name is Silvia, indeed, and I'm part of the board of YESEurope since a couple of years now. We have been doing several things in this time, and we thought that that was a good opportunity to tell you and to tell the people that don't know YESEurope a bit more about the organization and a bit more about what happened in the past with the organization. So just for full transparency and full clarity, I don't want to take any credit for this summer camp because this has been fully organized by another team. So I'm just here to present YESEurope as an organization and to give you the welcome to the summer camp. So just because I just mentioned, I don't want to take any credit that I don't deserve. These are the people that have been working hard to make these events happen. So I'm sure you will get the opportunity to meet all of them during the next few hours and the next few days. You already met Sarah, who has been taking the lead on this project. We have also now connected online Monica and Dimitri, and you will also for sure meet Giorgio, Eric, Beatrice, and Evie. I just wanted to start with a special thanks to Sarah, because Sarah joined YESEurope just I think a few months ago when we organized the Climathon, and then directly took the lead on this project. So this is also an open call for you all that you're maybe joining today for the first time, you're maybe discovering YESEurope today for the first time, that this is just maybe the beginning of something else that you want to organize. So you can immediately start thinking ahead. Now a bit of the boring things that we will try to keep short, because I'm sure that there are much more interesting things to discuss about. But so for those who don't know, YESEurope, it's an organization of students and young professionals that aims to connect and empower young leaders passionate about energy and sustainability across Europe, and sometimes even beyond Europe. Our vision, it's a world where energy is more sustainable, accessible, and secure. Of course, this is a very high-level vision, but we do believe that there is a role for association and for NGOs like us to play in this context. And we do believe that connecting young people and empowering them is actually contributing to this vision. As I mentioned, we are a group of very diverse people. So there are students, there are young professionals, there are people coming from very different backgrounds. So we are very proud of not being only an organization of engineers or of law specialists or of business people, but we try to have a mix of all these different people with different backgrounds. And we think that this is really one of the strengths of this organization. And this is also what you will be leveraging a lot during the summer camp. And then obviously the other key component is that we're all interested or passionate or somehow related to the topic of energy and more broadly to the topic of sustainability. So this is very broad. So I have also put some other pictures on the slides to give you a bit more of a feeling of who is behind all of this. The organization has we have a board of 6 persons, president, vice president, leading the external relationships, leading the country lead, leading communication. So these are the people you see on the left. And then on the right, you see all the country leads. So these are persons that are located in different countries in Europe, and that they in turn build their own local communities. We are very proud that this year we are really represented in many different countries. And it's also important to mention that not all of the active members of the organization are represented on these slides, but there are many more. So these are all the countries we are in. I hope I didn't forget any, but I think the most important message of this slide is actually what you see at the bottom right corner. If you think that we are definitely missing out on some countries, whether it's officially in Europe or not, you can see we are also inclusive with respect of the UK and Switzerland. You are always welcome to send us a message to let us know that you want to get involved and that you think that there is potential in your country for establishing a local network. Just very briefly about how all of this started. I was not involved in 2016, but that was a group of students at the École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne, so in Switzerland, that decided that it was about time to organize a conference that would bring together people from across Europe to discuss energy-related topics. The association was formed back then with around 50 members, and it was called the European Energy Student Network. Since then, things have been changing. New people have been taking the lead in the organization. The name of the organization has changed. Several things have changed, but what's important is that it has been significantly growing. So we are now represented, as you saw, in more than 10 countries, with I believe more than 500 members that are following our activities. And we also changed our name to YESEurope because we wanted to be more inclusive towards not only students but also young professionals. Of course, moving forward, it's hard to say where are we going. I think we are not of one of these organizations or with very and extremely well-defined goals in terms of how many countries we want to achieve, how many. We don't have these very hard KPIs, but I'm sure that we will be growing, and that's what we can see is that more and more people are interested and involved in this topic. So that's something I can promise. Activities. So what are we doing? This sounds all of this sounds very, very nice, but what does this mean in practice? You could be thinking. It means several things. One of our main activities is the organization of an annual conference, which we are doing every year regularly since 2016. And in addition to this annual conference, there are all the local events that the country leads that you've been seeing in the previous slides are organizing with their local teams. The annual conference, these events are in-person opportunities to connect with like-minded individuals and become part of a strong community of young energy leaders. There have been several annual conferences since 2016, and one of our objectives is to do this always in a different country, because this also helps us to reach always new people. Even though we have noticed that often there are the same people that really like the event that are coming back and following from year to year, so that this community is really taking life. So the very first event was in Switzerland, then in Berlin at the TU, then in Madrid, then in Delft last year, and 2020 was supposed to host the annual conference in Turin. As you might imagine, I don't need to explain the reason this had to be postponed, unfortunately, and the date is still to be determined, but we are confident that we will make this happen sooner or later. What you see in the picture are just a few shots from these events. There are obviously many more, but what I like about this picture is just how many different people you can find there and how passionate people are. And I'm always impressed about how people can just decide to spend times on a workshop on a Sunday, on a Saturday and on a Sunday to learn more about the Green Deal. So there will be pictures about you as well in the next presentations. As I mentioned, this year was a bit of a special year. It was not possible to have the annual conference in Turin. We hope that this will happen next year, but I think what's the nicest part of this story is that this didn't mean that the organization completely stopped, but on the opposite, it meant, let's say, putting our brain together and find new creative ways of having an organization to live, even though just digitally. So that's where the online Climathon comes from. That's probably some of you were participating to that event, and that was exactly one of the response we were able to find as alternative to the annual conference, as alternative to whatever we were used to do before. We just started thinking, okay, what is it that we can do if these are the conditions, if these are the constraints? The online Climathon was a really large event with many participants, which we framed into a 48 hours event that was aiming to find solutions for a more sustainable world after COVID-19. Again, this sounds like very ambitious. I think it was a big success. Here I've just put some of the key numbers and some of the highlights of the event. So it was, as I said, 48 hours. We had more than 300 participants registered, which I think was it was definitely the largest event we had with YES until now. And people have been working together in teams for 48 hours with the help of coaches to come up with their ideas that could be related to technology, to policy, to whatever else you could think of for a more sustainable society after the COVID crisis. We had great sponsors for the event. We tried to make it as fun as possible by not only having working sessions, which were really intense, but also entertaining sessions such as yoga or DJs or whatnot. So that was really, I think, one of the situations where we put ourselves a bit, where we challenged a bit ourselves and try to make something fun, even though on a digital format. And I think that's one of the challenges that we are also taking, or actually the organizing team is also taking on for this event, because we know how it's not easy to focus on Zoom calls. We know how it's not easy to remain entertained and involved during normal webinars, but we will try to make not normal webinar for this event. One more activity, and I am close to the end of this presentation. One more activity we are involved with on a long-term basis is these knowledge sharing activities, where we basically, through different formats, try to have dialogues on key energy topics that we think are really important, and what's the role of young professional with respect of this energy topic. So this can be surveys, this can be writing briefs, this can be writing articles, this can be hosting webinars. So there are different ways that we find of doing this. I just have a few examples of the things that have been produced, but there are more on the pipeline. So I think one of the most interesting one is the future of energy, which is a survey that we run among young professionals and students passionate about energy to represent what their perspective are on what we should expect from the future of energy. There are some shorter briefs with respect of what's the role of young professional in policy, how we can best contribute, what is our role in this transition. And then we have the conference reports, which is just let's say, a report about what happened during the events and during the conferences. So this is, and the Future of Energy report that you see here on the slide, it's the one published a couple of years ago, but there is a new version which is being prepared and will be launched, I think, by the end of this event or a little bit after. Of course, these organizations are great, but we are very well aware that we are not alone, and on the opposite, we are very happy to be connected with other similar organizations across Europe. I have just put the logos of some, I probably forgot many others, but this is just to say that YESEurope is not operating by itself, but in a network of many other organizations. And I'm especially happy about the collaborations with the community by YESEurope, with Poly Energy, with the Zero Emission Group, and many others among them. I am at the end of my presentation. As I started the presentation with the same message, I think Sarah was a great example. She just came in 3 months ago, and now she's leading the organization of this event. So I really hope that among the participants of this event, there will be the next leader for our next big event. So start to think about it. Let us know what your ideas are. Always let us know your feedback. Get in touch if you have any ideas of things that we should be doing that we are not doing. But I really wish you having a lot of fun with this event. Don't take it too seriously. Try really to learn, of course, but also have fun. You can follow us on all social media if you're not yet doing so. And nothing. Thanks so much for listening and for being connected this afternoon. And I wish you all the best.
Well, thanks a lot, Silvia, for doing this presentation on YESEurope.